Hello everyone and welcome back to another Museum Mini. In today's episode we'll be covering how I record gameplay from HD sources, more specifically consoles and PCs using HDMI, for use in the videos you see here on the channel. I'll also be giving a few tips and tricks I've learned over time and how these can help you if you plan on creating content revolving around video games. I've created a similar video on how I record audio. The card should appear in the top right hand corner if you're interested in watching that one. Let's get started. I've decided to split up the videos on recording standard definition and high definition content since the setups are a bit different. Today we'll be focusing on HD. Creating a setup for recording or streaming a direct video feed from a modern HD source can be a bit confusing at first, but you might be surprised at how simple it really is. First things first, let's look at what you'll need. In most cases you'll need both a computer and a capture device. If you simply need to get game footage, maybe to hand off to a separate editor, there are capture devices that can do this. We'll get into that a little bit later though. For now, I'll explain what a capture device is and how it's used. As you might imagine, a capture device is used to record or capture both video and audio from an outside video source. Let's use video games as an example, since this is the subject of the channel. You can use a capture device to record gameplay for a review, documentary, gameplay video, the list goes on. You can then use the footage you've obtained using this device for whatever purpose you desire, though in most scenarios your footage will require editing. That's a whole other can of worms that we won't open at the moment. The important thing to know is that a capture device will be used for recording or live streaming gameplay footage directly from its source. If you ask me, that's much better than the alternative of pointing a camera at your screen. There are all sorts of different capture devices for all different purposes. Maybe you need to carry one with you on the go, or you use a laptop. In that case, a portable device is for you. If you're recording at home or in a studio setting, where you won't be moving around very much, there are PCIe capture devices that you install on your desktop, like, say, a GPU. In many cases, these internal capture cards will be even better suited to make use of your desktop's hardware. As I briefly mentioned earlier, there are even devices that you can capture gameplay directly to an SD card without the need for a computer at all. Which device you will get the most use out of depends on your hardware and your needs, which is why I highly recommend taking the time to look around and research different devices before you make a purchase. Since I planned on recording gameplay at 1080p most of the time, with 60 FPS on occasion, I found that Elgato's Game Capture HD 60 was ideal for my needs. As the name implies, the big selling point with this device is that it's capable of recording at a max 1080p resolution at 60 frames per second, along with lower resolutions and frame rates. This specific model is an upgrade from the earlier Game Capture HD model, which was capped at 1080p and 30 FPS. The earlier model does have a benefit over the HD 60, a built-in input for standard definition. It's still possible to record standard definition content through the HD 60, but you will need an upscaler to convert the standard definition signal to HDMI. Elgato has also released an upgrade to the HD 60, the HD 60S. Primary improvement with the HD 60S is the addition of USB-C, which allows for a very low latency game preview on your PC. This makes it a bit better suited for streaming than the previous models. The Game Capture HD, HD 60, and HD 60S are portable devices, which is part of my decision on the HD 60 due to a few factors. For one, I plan on recording with friends on occasion, so simply bringing the device and a laptop along was much more convenient than lugging a desktop around. The ability to set up anywhere in the house was another factor, along with the fact that I could easily use this device with both Mac and Windows machines. So how do I use the capture device? In my case, the first thing I did was download the Game Capture HD software from Elgato's website, which allows me to record, stream, and adjust settings pretty easily. As far as setting up the device with a console or PC, I only need 3 cables to get things up and running. On the front of the device there is an HDMI input and a USB output. I plug the console or PC's HDMI cable into the Elgato instead of the TV or monitor like I do if I'm just playing a game normally. I then plug the USB cable into the device and then the computer that I plan on recording to. The footage is then carried from the console or PC to the device through the HDMI cable, and carried to the capture computer through the USB cable. Sounds simple enough, right? But you might be wondering how I play the game itself. Well, I could play through the preview on the capture software, but the HD 60 introduces some delay that would make this difficult. The HD 60 does have a solution to this problem. It also works as a pass-through. On the other end of the HD 60 is an HDMI output. All I need to do is plug another HDMI cable into here and then my TV or monitor, and I can now play the game as I normally would while recording, all with no latency or input lag. While this has been specific to the HD 60 so far, the truth is that most capture devices use this method for recording. The gameplay feed is sent to the device through HDMI, The device works with software to record the gameplay, be it through USB or a PCIe connection, or directly to an SD card. And the device also passes the gameplay footage without latency to your TV or monitor. Simple as that. If your device does not feature an output for playing your game without latency, you can purchase a splitter to split the HDMI signal to both the capture device and your TV or monitor. If you're planning on recording to a computer, be it through a PCIe card or through USB, it's important to pay attention to your device's system requirements. Your computer needs to meet or surpass the required operating system, CPU, GPU, and RAM requirements. If you're using a USB device, make sure your computer's USB ports can support the required USB class. It's possible that your device will still work if you don't quite meet the requirements, but it's best to play it safe and choose a capture device that your system can handle. Let's move on to recording settings. I'll be showcasing the settings available in the Game Capture HD software, and chances are that most capture devices will have similar settings. My software allows me to choose which source I'm recording from. What I can tell, this doesn't really seem to matter, but always choose the console I'm recording from regardless. Next is your resolution profile. Try to match the max resolution the game is running at. If you're not sure, just choose the resolution you would like your final video to be. My software includes a quality slider, or in other terms, bitrate. Put it simply, the higher the bitrate, the higher the quality of the video. Do what works best for you and your storage restraints. Higher bitrates will lead to larger file sizes. Also, if you're uploading to YouTube, keep in mind that YouTube will compress your video somewhat, leading to a final video that has a slightly lower quality than what you recorded and edited. If your device allows for recording at different frame rates, there will be an option to change this as well. Again, try to record at the frame rate your game runs at, or that you would like your final video to be. One that might be a bit tricky is the HDMI color range option. This will require you to check what your RGB range is within your console settings. RGB range, if you're unfamiliar, is basically the range of colors available on a display. These will most likely be labeled standard and expanded, or limited and full. Standard is the same as limited, and expanded is the same as full. Generally, as long as the RGB range settings on your console match the settings on your device's software, your recording will look great. And that's pretty much it for the recording side of things. My experience with HD capture devices has almost entirely been with Elgato, but you should be able to apply most, if not all of this info to other capture devices. I hope this video was helpful in some way. There are still plenty of things I've yet to learn, and I'm still having fun experimenting with different equipment and trying new things. If you have any further questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to stick around for more. I'll see you all next time.